So, I was exploring the world one day through the warpath, and I discovered something. I'm not the only one. Here we have another player actually using boost to harvest power, which is pretty incredible. Take a look at this video. It's only about a minute long, but here he is mining out a source bank entirely in one crew lifetime. And he does have some competition here, but because of the tough and attack, he'd be able to win no matter what. So that's pretty incredible. And I think he has a boosted creep to actually take it away as well. So one creep lifetime, one power bank, completely harvested. So here's what I do on my creeps. It's not as complicated as what WJ was doing, but just having a little bit of T1 tough boost in front of my attack parts means that I don't take nearly as much damage, and I only need to have one healer for a full attacker, which is a little bit more efficient. So here we are in the room of system paradox, and we're checking out this guy right here, this farmer or harvester, and he has boosted these with UO, which increases the effectiveness by 200%, making this the equivalent of having 6 work parts. And he does this for sure in his main rooms. Let's see if he does it as well in the remote mines. So it looks like he just does it in his home rooms, but he is the only person I've seen that uses UO on creeps. If I'm mistaken, or you begin using boosts on your civilian creeps as a result of this video, let me know down in the comments or reach out on Slack, and I'll make an updated video showing the new users of boosts. Now let's take a little bit of a dive into Atanner's brain. And here I got a little spreadsheet I worked out a few months ago when I was looking to optimize my Shard 3 performance. And what I was trying to get down was this: the profit and credits for every intent that I had to execute on the shard. And I did a few things here. We have regular power harvesting. We have power harvesting with my little bit of T1 tough, and then we have power harvesting that's just full T3. And then we have things like harvesting energy of a source that's been extended by a power creep at level 4, and then mineral harvesting. So here's the prices I'm using, which are like today's prices on Shard 2. We got a mineral price average of about like 0.2, 0.12 for energy, about 4 for power, and I'm using an average bank size of about 5,000. Here's your prices for the different boosts. So over here we've got the total credit cost of this number of units, and this represents the different waves that are required for power harvesting. And one thing that's really interesting is the numbers add up pretty well with the T3 power harvesting. You've got 2 million hits in the bank, so if you want to destroy that in 1,000, you need 2,000 points of damage per tick. So you divide that by 120, which is the damage of a melee attack per tick, and you get that. Okay, so let's round down to 16. 16 times 120 is 1920 per tick. So this is going to give you, 500 ticks to deal with boosting the creep and actually moving towards your power bank, which should be ample time. So there's a little bit of headroom to round it down. So 1920 times 0.3 is the number of tough parts that would be destroyed with full tough boost. But here's the thing. The power bank only reflects half the damage, 288. Let's divide that by the healing effect of T3 heal boost, and we get 6. So only 6 heal parts on our bank healer, which is a pretty cheap creep. And this is assuming that we don't boost the moves. It's probably not worth it to boost the moves with tier 3. Could run some other numbers to see if it might be worth it with a tier 1. But that makes your spawning code a little more complicated and having to deal with multiple tiers of boost. But a setup like this would yield more than twice the credits per intent. And this is profit, not... so we have yield, which is bank size times the price of power, so 20,000 credits for this operation. Here we have the same profit, but same yield, and our profit numbers are pretty similar across the board. But the difference is that there's way less intents. You're only going to have 1,000, maybe 1,250 is what I'm estimating here, intents on each one of these guys, and then 400 intents per hauler. So maybe if you boosted this hauler, you could even get that price down a little bit less, but that's a pretty good yield, and that's pretty comparable to harvesting using links and harvesting using boosted sources, or harvesting mineral, which is now becomes sort of mid-pack here. So when you're trying to figure out what to do with your economy, the metric I was using on Shard 3 was profit per intent. You might want to use something a little bit different in your calculations. Maybe it's spawn time or things like that. And if spawn time's your issue, I mean, having boosted creeps is going to make them much more effective. If intents are your issue, then same thing. So, and this is all assuming that you're going to be buying these boosts directly off the market rather than producing them yourself. So, this is going to do some interesting stuff. If people start using boosts for their civilian creeps, it creates a whole new market for mineral extraction and production of compounds, which could be really interesting to see the market sort of come alive again and have a lot more volume. Anyway, I hope to see a lot more people using boosted creeps either in power harvesting or mineral extraction or energy extraction, rather than just seeing them used on attack creeps or defense creeps.